So, as everybody knows by now, the political activist Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist, has been shot and killed. And they did catch the killer, by the way. And from my understanding, he has no political affiliation. But, things are running wild as things are going to do. People are going to speculate and say all kinds of stupid things that they shouldn't be saying. So, therefore, that's why I have not done a video on anything Charlie Kirk yet, because I wanted to see how everything unfolded. I wasn't going to run out and just make accusations like a lot of people, have done on YouTube so far, have just come out and made accusations without having all the facts. So as much as I wanted to do a video right after he got shot, I got to admit, I was very angry and I thought better not. Better let it go. Better wait to see how everything unfolds. So there will be a video at one point coming out about Charlie Kirk, but there again, I'm waiting for everything to unfold because I don't want to misspeak or blame any one person for this, that, or the other thing, even though they supposedly have caught the shooter. But one thing I will talk about is the absolute hypocrisy and stupidity of the left. I will always talk about this because this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because that is a gift that never stops giving. Stupidity and hypocrisy go hand in hand with liberalism. And the definition of liberal should be stupidity and hypocrisy. Case in point, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, before I get into what this is actually about, case in point. First off, like I said, liberals are celebrating the hell that Charlie Kirk was shot, which is just baffling to me. I don't celebrate anybody dying. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't celebrate it. I absolutely do not celebrate it. And you can even go back on one of my channels where they were talking about, what was his name? Poopy Pants, Joe Biden, and worst president we've ever had by far. But I don't wish him dead by any stretch of the imagination. I want him to die. We have one life. Because when somebody dies, it doesn't just affect them. Obviously, they're dead, but it immediately destroys everybody around them. Okay? Charlie Kirk's family, what are they going to do now? Charlie Kirk was the breadwinner, I'm sure. He had a wife and two beautiful young babies that are now going to grow up without a father because of some unhinged moron that could not keep his feelings in check. Well, this goes back to liberalism to me, because liberals cannot keep their feelings in check. And when they can't keep their feelings in check, what's the first thing a liberal does? They do this. They get that mouth running and they cannot control themselves. Case in point, Snow White. Snow White by woke Disney. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars making a live adaptation of Snow White, which in itself was baffling to me because they put in somebody whose skin was not Snow White. But, we do have to be politically correct now, so we'll hire somebody who's not of, a white descent to play the part of Snow White, even though Snow White's name was literally because the color of her skin was Snow White. Brilliant move. But everybody would have overlooked that. That would not have been the problem. I got to be honest. When it came out, I wasn't saying, hell, she's not Snow White. She's kind of brown. I don't care. It's a movie. I don't care. So what if they go out and they spend hundreds of millions of dollars? They pick up Rachel Zegler, who can obviously act. I've seen her in other things. She's a decent actor. And she can sing. She can dance. Not bad at all. What she can't do is think. Because as soon as they wrap the movie, Rachel Zegler does what those liberals love to do, and they pour themselves onto TikTok and social media. And what does she do like all liberals do? They do this. And she instantly comes out and starts running her mouth, which instantly pisses off half of America, like myself. Because would I have seen it? Probably not, but my wife would have seen it, because my wife loves Snow White. She'd have probably taken her daughter, and they'd have probably taken some friends. But because Rachel Zegler comes out and does this, guess who all in my family saw Snow White? Zero. Nobody. Nada. I believe it's on Disney Plus. Still haven't watched it. Not going to watch it. Have no desire to see it, because Rachel Zegler could not keep her mouth shut. Because at the end of the day, the reason Snow White failed horribly, besides all the other problems they had, was because of Rachel Zegler's mouth. She could not keep it shut, because liberals cannot contain themselves. So, what happens then is, moving on from Disney, we have this person right here, this Gretchen Felker-Martin. Felker. Well, that does not roll off the tongue at all, does it? It just does not. Felker. Yeah, doesn't roll off the tongue at all. This person comes up and creates a comic book called Red Hood. I don't know anything about it. I have not read a comic since I was a child, but creates a comic by Red Hood who gets picked up by DC. Brilliant. Brilliant. Simply brilliant. Your life just forever changed. You got picked up by DC. And if you put out a good comic book series, who knows? DC could turn this into a movie and you'll make millions. Look at the chick that did the Harry Potter movies. Started off writing them as books. Hell, she was handwriting them because she didn't have the money for a damn typewriter. Writing shit like this. And now what is she? What is her name? I don't even know her name because I got to be honest, I never saw the Harry Potter movies. It's just not my bag. What is her name? I can't think of her name. But I know she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions. So, now she did open her mouth. But she opened her mouth after she made her hundreds of millions, so there is that. She was at least smart enough to do that. And I gotta admit, I agree with what she said. A boy's never going to be a girl. A girl's never going to be a boy. That's just how it is. If you believe otherwise, then you need to seek medical professional help. It's that simple. So, Gretchen, whose name was probably apparently John or Bill at one point, comes out and does Red Hood comic book, and it gets picked up by DC. Life is great, smooth sailing waters ahead. And then what does Gretchen do? The one thing liberals cannot contain themselves about. Gretchen does this. So, DC cancels comic book series after writer post about Charlie Kirk's death on social media. How stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? You just got your comic book series picked up, or it could just be a new series got picked up. It could have been picked up before, but it just got either picked up or repicked up by DC, and you instantly go out and open your mouth, not thinking of the repercussions of what could possibly happen had this if it gets back to the higher ups at DC. Because DC does not want to be affiliated with people who are enjoying the fact that Charlie Kirk got killed like liberals. Liberals are celebrating the fact that Kirk got killed. Celebrating. They're up in arms. They're throwing parties. They're drinking champagne. They're sitting around the fire having hot toddies. Celebrating the fact that Charlie Kirk got killed. And I have to say this. They're happy Charlie Kirk got killed, but they weren't happy when the career criminal drug addict George Floyd got killed. They rioted for God knows how long, and then they built a statue of him. I will never wrap my brain around that. They celebrate the criminal that got killed, but they also celebrate the good guy that got killed, but they build statues of the criminal. Fascinating. Those liberal beasts are fascinating. So, comic book gets canceled, and I got to say this before I read the rest of this. Let's see. Liberals, we know she's a liberal. He, she, whatever it is a liberal. A, trans. B, looks like a dude wearing lipstick. Hates guns. Hates the Second Amendment. Every liberal I know wants the Second Amendment taken away. Hates guns. Guns are bad. Guns kill people, even though guns do not kill people. But that's what they think. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to get my analogy here. I don't believe in the Second Amendment. I don't believe in guns, but I do like comic books. So I'm going to make a comic book where this person's main power is a gun. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. So you can see here, Red Hood. Out of Gotham, not out of bullets. Well, hang on. Let me try that again. Out of Gotham, not out of bullets. Had to use my movie voice for that. Got to get it ready because I'm shooting a horror short for the film festival, so I got to get my movie voice ready. Let's see. DC Comics has canceled the just-released Red Hood comic book series after author Gretchen Felker-Martin. That just does not roll off the tongue. Change your name. You've changed your damn sex, or you tried to. Change your name. Your name is awful. Gretchen Felker-Martin. It's a horrible name. Change your name for the love of God. Charlie Kirk, an activist and campaigner for President Donald Trump, was shot and killed. Let me correct you for that. Assassinated and silenced Wednesday at a speaking event at a university in Utah. And since deleted post, amazing. You liberals are so stupid. You don't think, and I've said it, you don't think. You don't have the ability to think. You just react with your weirdo emotions, run out on the social media, do all your stuff, and then think, oh shit, I just made a mistake. You instantly pull it down, But before then, there's been a million screen grabs of it. And since deleted posts captured in screen grabs, what did I tell you? It's so stupid. Shared by other social media users, Felker-Martin allegedly wrote on social media, there's no allegedly, they wrote, after news of Kirk's death, hope the bullet is okay. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I just landed the deal of a lifetime. So I got to make sure I piss off half the people that are going to buy my comic book before it ever comes out, before I ever make any money off of it. I want to piss off half the people who are never going to buy it because DC is going to love that business plan. And had they kept me, they'd end up dropping me anyway because I pissed off so many people who's not going to buy my comic book. They're not going to make any money off of it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant plan. Felker-Martin, who identifies as a transgender, also referred to Kirk as a Nazi bitch. I guess none of these liberals just understood Michael Jordan at all. Because what was that Michael Jordan said? I want to sell shoes to everybody. Don't care who you are. And to me, that seems like a more better. Yes, that is right. I'm using correct English. That seems like a more better idea than to piss half the people off. That's ultimately going to get you shut down. I mean, how stupid can you be, Gretchen Felker-Martin? What you should do is go back to being a dude, and for the love of God, change that god-awful name into something people can actually, that rolls off of your tongue, you know, as your Bajan, whatever you want to call yourself. Not Gretchen Felker-Martin. That's just hard to say. And it's very unforgettable, by the way. By the time I get through with the story, I will have forgotten that name. But I will not forget the story because I love when people are so stupid. And I got to be honest, I am the world's worst about that. When people have a bad idea, dude, I promote it 100%. I promote it 100%. And I think you should do that. Because if you're so stupid to think that your idea is a good idea when it's a bad idea, then you should do that idea. You really should. So I always promote bad ideas. And had this person come up to me and said, you know what, I'm going to put a post on social media that says that I hope the bullet's okay and Kirk's a fascist. I'm like, you should do that immediately. Great idea. Great idea. Meanwhile, now you're left with a bunch of comic books that nobody's ever going to want to buy or ever going to want to read, except for the absolute left-wing liberal nut jobs who will gladly buy it because that's what liberal nut jobs do. So my point of all this is the power of us is amazing. Amazing. Take Cracker Barrel. Made that god-awful new logo. What happened? We revolted. Cracker Barrel pulled back on the logo. But phase 2 of their plan is they were going to spend millions of dollars refurbishing the interior of their stores to make them a little more modern. What happened? We backlashed. Cracker Barrel said, you know what? We're scrapping that plan too. Scrapping that plan too. So that's what happens when we band together. Now, granted, most of us banding together were those of us on the right because we don't want our money going to transgender studies and things like that because we simply don't believe in that stuff, which is another reason why I would not read this comic book because it's written by a transgender person who hates guns, but then makes a comic book character whose sole power is a gun. Yeah, I would never read that, ever. Simply because of the hypocrisy involved, I would have to sidestep this one. But the point I'm getting to is if you see this comic book come up, please don't buy it. Please don't buy it. We need to go ahead and just shut this out and shut this down forever. All right? Because if you're going to celebrate the death of anybody in this way, in this, I hope the bullet's okay, really? If you're really going to say stupid shit like that, then you need to be canceled. And while the left continues to celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk, and don't tell me they're not, do not tell me they're not celebrating because they are. There's Fox News forums is full of idiot liberals right now drinking champagne that Charlie Kirk is dead. Dowd off MSNBC already fired. You're out of here, gone. And just to kind of prove my point to you that the liberals are celebrating, I'm just going to do this real quick. It is a little bit off topic, but you know, I love to point out people's hypocrisy. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because when George Floyd got killed, the liberals rioted. They lost their minds. When the career criminal drug addict got killed, they lost their minds and then built a statue for the druggie. We got a druggie statue of George Floyd. He was such a good kid. Such a good kid. And didn't he get caught robbing a store, by the way, when he was drugged out of his mind? But we built a statue of him anyway. But to kind of prove my point, so I went over to Fox News forums, and just to kind of give you an idea, these are screenshots that I grabbed. Right there's one. I don't know if you can read it from here. This is from Trump's Epstein secret, and I thought Ashley was a gusher. Oh, great thing, man. You're such a good human being. So compassionate. Way to love your fellow man. And let me guess, you don't believe in God either, do you? You don't believe in God. And I got to be honest, Ashley does have something in common with Charlie Kirk. They were both shot by cowards from a great distance when they were unarmed. So they have that in common. So thanks for pointing that out, liberal. And let's see, we got another one here. Now, if I was to post this, I would have gotten kicked off in a heartbeat. Another one right here, just so you know I'm not making this up. You better buckle up, Trump fags. Now, if I said this about Obama or Biden, then I'd have been blacklisted. YouTube would drop my channel. I would get a bazillion strikes. I mean, I'd have been kicked off everything because this is what happens when you betray people who feel you understand them. Okay, obviously a stupid, unhinged liberal, because this comment really doesn't make any sense. But just kind of give you an idea of how, his base was infuriated. That was a signature issue of his. No, we're infuriated now because he died for no reason. Here's another one that came up here from the Fox News forums. He vomited hate and conspiracy theories. Actually, he did not. He did not. Because I remember watching, I was one of his little rallies that he does at the college campus. This trans came up there and literally said the same thing. All you do is talk about hate and racism. And he said, tell you what, find one thing that I've said that was hateful, not truthful, hateful, or racist. Well, I don't have anything with me. He said, well, you got your cell phone, correct? Yes, I do. Well, then pull it up. Pull it up and show me right now. Show me. So they get their cell phone and I can't find one right now. And he said, you can't find one because I never said one. That's why you can't find one. He said, so now move along with your question. And if I was him, I'd have said, move along with your question, idiot. But let's see. At least he died happy because he said 45,000 plus people needed to die yearly from guns that we could have the Second Amendment. He never said that. Absolutely not. That is absolutely stupid. That person is completely unhinged and ignorant. What Charlie Kirk did say, I know this has nothing to do with Red Hood, but I got to clear this up real quick. And this is just kind of proving my point, the stupidity of liberals. He said, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have the cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights, Charlie Kirk. Well, every liberal in the world started posting that all over the Fox News forums, and I replied to everyone I could find telling them how stupid they are, and they're obviously so stupid they don't know what he was trying to say. And, of course, I hate it when I have to explain things to smooth brains, but I explained it to the smooth brains anyway, because what he's saying here is he doesn't want people to die by guns. He's not celebrating the death like liberals do, like Gretchen Felker-Martin does after they sign a big lucrative deal with DC Comics. It's so funny. You're done. You're gone. You're a trash bag. What he's saying is once we give them that, once we let them take our guns and our Second Amendment, it's over. It's completely over. This is what he's saying verbatim. And I'll read the last part of this again. The Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Other, to all you smooth-brain liberals out there, okay? Because look what's happening in UK. Look what's happening over in Australia right now as we speak. Comedian just got arrested in UK for saying something derogatory about a trans person. What happened to freedom of speech? Well, they don't have freedom of speech over in UK because they're Nazis. They're fascists. They're liberals. Look up the definition of fascist. It's the liberal party to a T, even though they love calling us fascists, but they really don't know what fascism means, so we got to forgive their stupidity. And look what's going on over in Australia. They raised all that money, $500 million, to buy back all the guns, then outlaw guns. So people started hacking each other up with machetes. I did a video about it. So now they're outlawing machetes because what happened is they gave them that chance. They gave them that chance. They opened that door. Take our Second Amendment rights away from us. Take our guns. We give them to you willingly. And do you think that's where the government stops? You give them an inch, they take 40 miles, not a mile. So that's what Charlie Kirk's saying here for all you idiot smooth brain liberals. That's actually what he's saying. You give up one right, you better be prepared to give them all up. Now, I understand liberals don't mind giving up rights because liberals want everything for free and want to be told to do what the government, case in point, Mom Donnie in New York, who they're getting ready to vote in with their free government-run grocery stores. Boy, those have worked out well everywhere else, haven't they? I believe everyone that's ever been made is shut down. And he's going to tax the rich. He doesn't want you to own any personal property. I hope he gets voted in because as soon as he gets voted in, that means all that business is going to leave New York and they're going to come to red states just like Whataburger did. So Good job, liberals. But if you do, and I digress, I did jump off of the bandwagon here for a little bit, but if you do come across, if somebody happens to be stupid enough to pick up the Red Hood comic book series, don't buy it. There's no reason to celebrate this kind of hatred and stupidity in America. So therefore, I don't ever want to read a Red Hood. I don't care if it was the greatest comic book since The Incredible Hulk. I would never read it now because of trans, liberal, activist, nutjob, gun-hating, comic book writing about guns, moron, simply celebrates the fact that a great American got killed. And the only thing they could think to say was, I hope the bullet's okay.